Welcome to Spicy Ladies. You don't think like everyone else, and that's not a problem. That's your power. The Sigma female doesn't just move differently. She thinks differently. Her brain doesn't follow the usual tracks, and she often finds herself out of sync with what's considered normal. But here's the truth. She's not broken, difficult, or dramatic. She's wired to notice what others ignore, to see connections, patterns, and truths that fly right over most people's heads. In fact, if you've ever felt like you're too intense, too quiet, too observant, too deep, or just too much for the room, you're not too much. You're a Sigma. And what makes you stand out is the same thing that might make you misunderstood. Your brain shares striking similarities with neurodivergent traits, things like hyperfocus, pattern recognition, emotional depth, sensitivity to noise and energy, and resistance to surface-level interaction. You're not trying to fit in because deep down, you know you're not meant to. You're meant to see differently, think deeply, and move with purpose. And yes, that comes with challenges. It means people will try to label you, question your silence, or shrink your intensity. But don't let that confuse you. You were never meant to blend in. You were made to disrupt, to observe, and to lead from the edges. Being a Sigma female isn't a trend. It's a neurological advantage in a distracted world. And the more you learn to own that, the more unstoppable you become. Let's get started. Spicy ladies. Number 1. Authority doesn't intimidate her, it irritates her. She doesn't flinch in front of power, not because she's trying to prove anything, but because titles, uniforms, and loud voices don't impress her. What matters to her is substance, not status. And when someone in charge demands compliance without offering clarity or reason, she doesn't obey. She questions not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. If the rules make sense, she'll follow them. If the structure is ethical, she'll respect it. But if something feels off, if it reeks of ego, manipulation, or lazy thinking, she disconnects instantly. She's not trying to cause problems, but her brain is wired to detect nonsense faster than most. That makes her dangerous in environments that run on control, because she won't play along just to keep the peace. She won't flatter incompetence. She won't follow flawed systems without pulling them apart in her mind first. To her, obedience without integrity isn't loyalty. It's self-betrayal. That's not rebellion for rebellion's sake. It's discernment. And yes, it makes her a threat to insecure managers, to lazy leaders, to people who rely on compliance more than competence. They call her difficult, disruptive, uncooperative. But what they really mean is she can't be controlled because she's already trained herself to live without approval. She doesn't need to be liked to be right. She doesn't need to be loud to hold power. Her defiance is quiet but sharp. Not performative, but principled. So when someone in authority demands respect without earning it, they'll find her silence louder than rebellion and far harder to dismantle. Number 2, she thinks in nonlinear layers, not lines. Most people follow thoughts like a trail. One step, then the next, then the conclusion. Simple, straightforward. But her mind doesn't move like that. It leaps. It loops. It branches out and doubles back. Where others go from A to B to C, she might jump from A to Z, then to a future version of C, then circle back to a hypothetical version of B no one else considered. To most, it sounds like she's off track. To her, she's already 3 levels deep. Her thoughts don't form a line. They form constellations. They light up all at once, scattered, but connected, like a galaxy of meaning only she can see clearly. She doesn't just analyze what's happening. She factors in what could happen, what almost happened, and what patterns suggest will happen again. And that's exactly why people sometimes label her as weird, too abstract, or hard to follow. Her logic doesn't present itself in bullet points. It unfolds in layers. She talks in metaphors, cross-references things others think are unrelated, and draws conclusions that seem to come out of nowhere until they turn out to be right. This kind of thinking is misunderstood because it doesn't follow the rules. It's not about neat timelines or tidy steps. It's about seeing the full picture even when the pieces are scattered. Her brain doesn't care about convention. It cares about truth. And here's what makes her rare. She's not only comfortable thinking like this, she needs to. It's how she makes sense of the world. It's how she survives chaos and connects dots others don't even notice exist. Her logic is layered. Her intuition is structured. Her thoughts are multidimensional. And if you ever feel lost trying to follow her, trust this, she's not lost. She's just thinking in a language you haven't learned yet. Right now, if you are still watching, I hope this video can help you. Your comments motivate me so much, so I can make more videos which you like. So hit that subscribe button and leave me a message. Let's continue. Number 3. Her interests are obsessive, not casual. She doesn't just like things, she dives into them. When something catches her interest, it doesn't just sit at the surface of her mind like background noise. It takes over. It consumes her thoughts, her time, her energy. Whether it's music theory, particle physics, Jungian psychology, or ancient spiritual texts, she doesn't skim, she devours. This is why people often call her intense. And they're right. She is. But what they don't understand is that this intensity isn't a choice. It's how her brain works. She can't do things halfway. Casual curiosity doesn't satisfy her. She wants to know the how, the why, and the hidden layers beneath it all. She'll binge hours of research, take apart systems, memorize obscure connections most people don't even know exist. And not because she's trying to impress anyone. She's just wired to go deep. And while others might move from one interest to the next like social trends, she'll stay in the trenches of a single passion until she understands it from the inside out. Her obsession isn't random. It's ritual. It's how she builds meaning in a chaotic world. This kind of depth intimidates people. They'll say she's too much or that she thinks too hard. But what they really mean is they can't keep up. She doesn't dabble because dabbling doesn't feed her. Shallow things bore her. If she's in, she's all in. And when she talks about her interests, it's not just conversation, it's immersion. Her eyes light up, her words speed up, her whole presence shifts. You're not just hearing her thoughts. You're being invited into her mental universe. So yes, she's intense. But that intensity isn't a flaw. It's focus. It's fire. And it's exactly what makes her brilliantly rare. Number 4. Her sensory sensitivity is a double-edged sword. She doesn't just walk into a room, she absorbs it. The hum of fluorescent lights, the overlapping voices, the scratchy fabric of the chair, the cologne someone wore a little too generously. It all hits her at once and stays. Where most people can tune out the noise and push through, she feels every detail as if her brain has the volume turned all the way up and no off switch. This is sensory sensitivity. And while it might look like she's being too much or too sensitive, it's actually just her nervous system doing what it does, reacting honestly. Loud places can feel like an attack. Crowds can drain her in minutes. Even smells or textures that others shrug off might trigger a wave of discomfort she has to actively manage. And yet, she often hides this. She powers through, masks the overwhelm, and then crashes later in silence. But here's the other side of that blade. This same sensitivity makes her sharp. She notices emotional shifts in people's voices. She catches micro-expressions. She feels the tension in a room before anyone says a word. Her brain picks up on details most others ignore. And that's what makes her so aware, so insightful, so tuned in. Yes, it's exhausting. Yes, she has to protect her energy with boundaries that might confuse others. But it's also why she can create, analyze, and empathize on levels most people can't reach. What overwhelms her also informs her. It's not weakness, it's neurological honesty. She lives in high definition. And while that means the noise of life gets loud, it also means she can hear what's truly real beneath the static. Number 5. Her pattern recognition skills are unervingly accurate. She has this rare ability to spot what others miss. Not because she guesses or relies on gut feelings, but because her brain works like a supercomputer, piecing together clues from all directions. Whether it's subtle shifts in someone's behavior, unspoken tensions in relationships, or the hidden moves in business deals, she picks up on patterns that fly under most people's radar. It's not magic or intuition. It's something far more powerful, a different way of processing information. While most minds skim the surface, hers digs into details, compares notes, and runs silent simulations in the background. She watches, listens, and connects dots before the rest of the room has even noticed the dots exist. This kind of pattern recognition is like having a mental roadmap where others only see a foggy mess. She can anticipate outcomes, detect risks, and even predict betrayals long before they happen. And the scary part is, she doesn't just see what is happening. She understands why it's happening. Because her brain doesn't just collect data, it analyzes it from angles most people don't consider. It's as if she runs a constant background check on reality, comparing everything she absorbs against past experiences, hidden motives, and unseen agendas. This skill isn't always a gift. It can be a burden. Knowing what's coming can make trusting others harder. It makes her cautious, sometimes distant. But it also makes her invaluable, the one who's prepared, who's ready for the twists others are blindsided by. So when people call her mysterious or say she knows too much, they're actually recognizing the quiet power of a mind that sees the invisible threads weaving the world together. Her pattern recognition isn't just sharp. It's a superpower built on a brain wired differently and working smarter. Number 6. Her emotional response system runs on delayed processing. When something intense happens, don't expect her to cry, explode, or fall apart on the spot. She might look calm, too calm even. People might mistake her silence for coldness or detachment. But what they don't see is the internal storm she's quietly filing away to deal with later in her own way, in her own time. She doesn't react instantly, not because she doesn't feel, but because she feels deeply, just differently. Her emotions don't flare up and burn out like fireworks. They come in waves, slow and quiet, often showing up long after the moment has passed. This is how her brain works. It's a kind of delayed, emotional processing you often see in neurodivergent individuals. Instead of being loud about what she feels, she needs space to think it through, dissect the moment, pull apart the meaning, and sit with the complexity of it all. It's not emotional suppression, it's emotional translation. While others are reacting in real time, she's observing, storing, and breaking it down later when the noise dies down. And when she finally does speak about it, it's not a random outburst. It's often something deeply honest, thoughtful, and painfully accurate. That's why she's often misunderstood. People expect a performance. They expect her to match their energy right then and there. But she's not built for emotional theatrics. She doesn't perform pain. She processes it. You won't see the tears at the dinner table. You'll see them when she's alone 3 days later, unraveling the moment in full color. Her stillness isn't a lack of emotion. It's a different kind of intelligence, one that doesn't scream but whispers truths when the world has gone quiet. So, if she doesn't react the way you expect, don't assume she doesn't care. She might just be caring more than most, just in a language few people bother to understand. Number 7. Social rituals feel like unnecessary code to her. For her, socializing isn't about following the script. It's about meaning. But the world runs on rituals. The polite small talk, the performative laughs, the nods and smiles that signal I'm normal. I fit in. And while she can play along, she always walks away feeling like she just acted in a play she didn't audition for. It's not that she's rude or antisocial. She just doesn't see the point in surface-level interaction. If the conversation doesn't go beneath the shallow layer, her brain starts checking out. She'll smile, nod, and mirror the cues if needed. But on the inside, she's already somewhere else, mentally packing her bags. It's a kind of masking, almost like what you see in neurodivergent folks, especially those on the autism spectrum. She learns the social rules, follows them when she must, but none of it feels natural. It feels like she's inputting code into a machine. Say this when they say that. Laugh here even if it's not funny. Don't stare too long. Don't look away too fast. It's exhausting. She'd much rather sit with someone in silence that means something or dive into an uncomfortable but real conversation than exchange another round of "how are you?" that no one truly listens to. And when people say you're quiet or why don't you smile more, they don't get it. She's not trying to be difficult. She just values authenticity over social maintenance. To her, fake energy is like noise pollution. It clogs her brain. So, when she leaves a party early or doesn't text back right away or skips the friendly chatter, it's not personal. It's survival. because pretending to care about what doesn't matter is the quickest way to drain her. And nothing feels more lonely than being surrounded by people and still starving for something real. Number 8. Her idea of relaxation is mental stimulation. While most people unwind by zoning out, watching TV, scrolling endlessly, or chatting about nothing, she relaxes by diving in. Books that make her question reality, theories that challenge her thinking, music that reveals something hidden under the surface. That's her version of peace. To some, that sounds exhausting. To her, it's home. The Sigma female isn't the type to lounge around just for the sake of doing nothing. Her mind doesn't shut off just because the day is over. In fact, when the world quiets down, her brain finally gets space to breathe. That's when she starts exploring ideas, pulling apart concepts, and going down rabbit holes most people would never even notice. Give her a quiet room, a deep topic, and a little time, and she's in her element. She's not trying to sound smart or impressive. She's genuinely curious. That's how she recharges, not with noise, but with meaning. She finds comfort in complexity. A well-written book can feel like a spa day. A thought-provoking podcast can lift her mood better than a party ever could. A layered song lyric might sit with her for weeks, unlocking something she didn't even know she needed to hear. It's not that she's antisocial. She just doesn't find peace in surface-level stuff. Her nervous system only relaxes when her mind is activated. If there's no depth, she starts to feel restless. So, while others sip cocktails and make small talk, she's in the corner listening to a lecture on human behavior or rewriting the world in her head. And to her, that's not work. That's freedom. It's not weird. It's wiring. Because for her, relaxation isn't about switching off. It's about plugging into something that actually lights her up. Something that speaks to the way her brain was built, curious, deep, and quietly unstoppable. Number 9. She doesn't fear being misunderstood. She expects it. Let's be honest, she's been misunderstood for most of her life. Not because she's confusing, but because she's deep. Her thoughts don't live on the surface like everyone else's. They run 10 layers deep, turning over angles, dissecting meaning, questioning everything. Most people never even get close to that level. So, when she speaks or acts from that space, it's no surprise when people say she's too intense or hard to read. But here's the thing. She's done trying to explain herself to people who aren't even tuned into her frequency. In the past, she might have tried to tone herself down, simplify her thoughts, laugh at things she didn't find funny, numb her sharp edges just to be accepted. But that came at a cost. It made her feel disconnected from herself, from truth, from the depth she values. So she stopped. She stopped trying to translate brilliance into sound bites. She stopped watering herself down to be more relatable. Now, she lets people misunderstand her. And honestly, she's fine with it. She doesn't owe anyone clarity if they're not willing to meet her where she is. If someone needs her to be bubbly or predictable to feel comfortable, she's not their person, and she won't pretend to be. This isn't bitterness. This is wisdom. When you operate on a different mental and emotional level, not everyone's going to get you. And that's not a problem. It's just reality. She doesn't chase understanding anymore. She attracts it from those who actually have the range. The ones who see beyond small talk. The ones who don't flinch when things get real. So, yes, she's misunderstood, but never misplaced. She's just done speaking in a language that doesn't belong to her. She'd rather be misunderstood for being real than loved for being deluded. Number 10. Her honesty can feel like a scalpel. She's not out here trying to hurt anyone, but she also refuses to lie to make people feel better. Her honesty isn't loud or dramatic. It's clean, sharp, surgical. The kind that cuts through the noise and lands straight on the truth. Most people aren't ready for that. They're used to sugar-coated words, being gently nudged toward reality, not handed it raw. But she doesn't play that game. Her mind is wired for clarity, not comfort. And when something needs to be said, she won't dance around it. She'll say it like it is, with a calm tone and laser focus. No fluff, no filter. That's not rudeness. That's precision. She doesn't speak just to fill silence. She speaks to cut through illusion. And if that stings, it's because truth usually does, especially when people have been coddled by polite lies for too long. People often say they want honesty until they hear hers. But what makes her different is that she doesn't offer opinions to feel superior. She offers truth to create understanding. She's not trying to win arguments. She's trying to make things make sense. And yes, she might skip the pleasantries, not because she's cold, but because her brain is focused on solving the actual issue, not dressing it up. She can't help but zero in on what's real. And when you're wired like that, being vague feels like betrayal. So, while others tiptoe, she cuts clean. Not to harm, but to heal what fake kindness can't. Because sometimes the most respectful thing you can do is stop pretending. Number 11, she doesn't belong to groups. She intersects them. You'll never find her clinging to one crowd or blindly following a tribe. She doesn't fit into neat categories like the creatives, the intellects, the rebels, or the spiritual ones. And that's not because she's confused. It's because she's built to roam. The Sigma female moves through life like a quiet force, picking up pieces from different worlds. One day she's deep in thought with a philosopher. The next she's vibing with artists, decoding their emotions through brushstrokes or lyrics. Then she'll slip into a room full of sharp analysts, trading logic and insight like she belongs there, too. But even then, she doesn't belong. Okay, she connects deeply, meaningfully, but never attaches herself just to fit in. Why? Because her brain doesn't need to belong to feel whole. She was never wired for tribal loyalty. She was wired for truth. And truth can't be found in one circle. It lives across many. So, while others find comfort in labels and groupthink, she chooses freedom over identity. She samples different realities, learns from them, and then moves on. Not because she's cold, but because she refuses to be limited. It's not that she can't fit in. It's that she won't shrink to do it. She can sit with rebels, laugh with dreamers, build with thinkers, and meditate with sages. But the moment a group demands her full loyalty, or asks her to change who she is to stay, she's gone. That's what makes her powerful and sometimes hard to understand. She's not lost. She's not indecisive. She's expansive. She belongs nowhere, and yet she belongs everywhere. She's a traveler of minds, a collector of truths, and the world can't box that kind of soul. It can only watch her pass through, leaving sparks behind. Never chains. You weren't made to fit in. You were made to see what others miss, question what others accept, and become what others fear to be. The Sigma female mind isn't broken, offbeat, or strange. It's differently wired, and that difference is her edge. In a world that rewards predictability and polished smiles, her brain works like a secret engine running on questions, patterns, insight, and solitude. And sure, it might make her feel isolated at times, misunderstood, labeled too much, or too different. But what if that's not a flaw? What if that's proof? Proof that she was never meant to follow the script. Proof that her way of thinking is more aligned with truth than with comfort. Proof that her intensity, depth, and sensitivity are not just quirks. They're tools. Tools that allow her to cut through noise, detect patterns, avoid manipulation, and create in ways that feel almost prophetic. Her brain mirrors the rhythms of neurodivergence because she isn't here to mimic the herd. She's here to observe it, navigate it, transcend it. So to every Sigma female who's ever been told she's hard to understand, to the one who analyzes instead of reacts, to the one who prefers silence over small talk, patterns over popularity, truth over politeness, don't dilute yourself to feel normal. Don't shrink to feel accepted. You are not cold. You are calibrated. You are not distant. You are discerning. You are not weird. You are wired to awaken. And when the world finally catches up to what you've always seen clearly, don't say, "I told you so." Just keep being the blueprint they didn't know they needed. Stay true to yourself. To all the spicy ladies make life beautiful, thank you for watching and God bless.